Hi guys, it's Reagan and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. This reading vlog I'm very excited about because I am on a journey to try to read some 5-star reads. I would say my reading year this year has been successful in the way that I've read a lot of books. I have read kind of broadly and widely across a bunch of different genres. I've read a lot of things I've enjoyed, but I definitely feel like I need to read more things that I absolutely love and give 5 out of 5 stars. The goal this week is to find some 5-star books. Luckily, based on my TBR, I'm pretty confident I'm gonna find some today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and chat about the books I hope to read this week. So I have a very chunky stack of books here, so let's go through them. First, we have Binti by Dinendia Okorafor. This is actually a trilogy. It's a bind-up of short stories following our main character Binti. It's supposedly a very intense sci-fi adventure. I've had many friends read this and give it 5 out of 5 stars. I've read other books by this author and given them 5 out of 5 stars, so I feel very confident I'm going to love this. So I have been dying to read it as well, so I want to read at least one of these short stories this week. Another book that is on my TBR is Persepolis Rising by James S.A. Corey. This is book 7 to the Expanse series. This series I thought would be smart to add because one, I'm in the mood for something very plot forward, and I already know I really enjoy this series given I'm on book 7. But I also have larger goals to complete this series before the end of the year, and I also want to read their new release that's also coming out. I've actually already started this kind of spontaneously this weekend. It's currently Sunday. I'm on page like 130, I want to say. So I've also started to make progress, so I'm hoping I'll be able to complete this as well. And then for a third book, this is definitely more of a tertiary book, not one of my main books for this vlog. I'm going to get back on to reading Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb. I have made quite a good amount of progress on this book this year. I've been reading it so slowly because it's both so depressing but also fantastic, and I don't want the series to end. You guys know the drill, but I'm gonna start reading this once again, and this is definitely a 5 out of 5 star read for me. Like, I just already know based on what I've read, so I felt like it was safe to include this. But this is my TBR for this vlog. We have a new series I'm checking out and also some near to the end and end books to some of my favorite series too, so it feels like a safe bet that I will hopefully find some favorite books of the year, but wish me luck. But as I mentioned, it's currently Sunday, so I feel like it's just a day for relaxing and reading anyway. I want to watch some Love Island USA. I also want to download and play a new cozy game, but I also really am in the mood for doing a bit of reading, so I'm actually gonna make a fresh pot of coffee now and sit down and read more of Persepolis Rising because I have started that. And then we'll pivot and read some of the other books later this week. I'm hoping I get a lot of pages in. I just need a 5 out of 5 star read. Desperately, if you know what I mean. Desperately. Well, I'm inside relaxing. Clay is outside doing yard work. God bless him. Coffee is brewed and I'm now gonna sit down and get some reading in. Cheers to that. Hi friends, I am here with a reading update for Persepolis Rises. I have read 50 pages and that means I'm about on page 180 of this book so far, which is not too shabby at all. I was really looking forward to checking out book 7 of the Expanse series, and if you're not familiar, the Expanse series is like a really intense, really plot forward space opera series centering a very likable cast of characters that all work on the same ship. But alongside this sort of consistent plot and sets of characters we follow, every book also kind of has a singular plot that we also get to explore with specific characters and locations. But all of these things are very much like tied together and help build and act as building blocks to like the overall explosive nature of this plot and story. Every book I've really enjoyed, and honestly in a lot of ways every book has gotten better and better, especially in terms of me growing closer and liking the characters and the cast. I'm really impressed with James S.A. Corey with this series, is how they've been able to keep it fresh and interesting book over book. I'm on book 7 and I feel like this series could have felt repetitive or recycled, but I always feel like there's like new concepts that are introduced from a plot point of view that makes it interesting, but there's still like this sort of consistent core to the story, and that is that humanity is impressive in the way that they are adaptable and they persevere. And a lot about this series is how humanity has adapted and changed through time, spread beyond the bounds of Earth, and also the complexities that sort of arise with this new sort of post-Earth reality. The series is also a lot about how humanity constantly gets in its own way through small and large-scale conflict, governments and people who are grabbing for power, misunderstandings and frustrations between, you know, different groups of people as well. So it just has it has humanity sort of at the core of it, but is explored in a lot of different avenues. Into the 7th book in this series, I knew we were kind of pivoting to like endgame and also kind of a new direction within the series itself, particularly based on the ending of book 6. But what I wasn't anticipating is there was actually a huge time skip in book 7, which I actually think is working to the benefit of the plot. I think like 20 years has passed. We still get to see and be around so many of our favorite characters, but I feel like with this time passing, it allows for new areas of their lives to be explored, space and time for like growth, both at a character level, but also allowing the universe to sort of reset based on where we found them last, which there has been a lot of change over the course of the series based on all the different conflicts and like, you know, governments and, you know, powerful individuals sort of jockeying for things. So I feel like this time skip allows us to not only see characters kind of in new avenues in their life, but also allows us to experience a conflict in this place that we're familiar with, but because time has passed, it kind of resets the board in a way that's a lot more logical. And for like villains, if you will, it gave them time to sort of build things up so it feels logical from a plot point of view. It's not like everything happened in book 5 and 6 and then whoops, hiding behind the curtain, this person was here all along, like ready to swoop in. But no, we've had like time and planning sort of allowing to happen, which makes sort of the conflict interesting within this quite a bit. Everything is still connected, and I always appreciate how the authors are able to sort of balance this sort of sense of micro and macro. What's happening on this specific location where we're focused is very, you know, unique to the story itself, but at the same time, like what is happening also speaks to the larger trends that could happen across the entire galaxy. It just makes it feel very real and very like in the moment versus, which I personally prefer with my space stories. Like, don't get me wrong, like I love massive sweeping battles, but I think when things are more isolated to like space stations or specific planets, I feel that there's an intimacy to this that creates more intensity and just more focus on the overall conflict. And because the series is multi-POV, I love how we read, yes, from our favorite characters from Bobby to Holden, but we also always tend to get new characters. Like for example, in this series, we have Drummer, who's in a very important position from a trade commerce point of view. We're also reading people who are on the other side of the conflict, which gives us views into their government, their perspective, what's going on behind the scenes there. And all of these things just keeps the series so fresh, which is why I've been able to read a lot very quickly over the course of this weekend because I can't put the book down. But yeah, 50 pages read so far. I think I'm going to maybe take a nap. I'm tired. It's Sunday, but I want to do some chores, hang out with Matilda. I want to watch some Love Island USA. So, you know, we got some other Sunday activities at play here, but reading will definitely commence again at some point today too. Sunday is grocery day, but more importantly, it's Clay's and I's favorite day of the week, and that is rotisserie. It's a big one this week. Holy macaroni. It's rotisserie chicken sundae. We get a delicious pre-made. This week is lemon pepper rotisserie chicken from the grocery store. And I make some sides to have with it. And then we watch hours and hours of television. I love rotisserie chicken sundae. It is honestly the best day of the week. So, you know, I didn't get too many groceries this week, because I have a lot of stuff to use up in the fridge, but, oh wow, that's a huge potato. But I will show you everything that I got, because it's really limited, to be honest. Very limited. Tree haul, I got potato salad. I don't know, I saw it, it was on sale, and it just looked really good. So I got potato salad. I got this for a side salad for tonight because I was feeling very lazy because again, it's rotisserie chicken sundae. I'm gonna do chicken cutlets and salad this week. I already have like lemons and lots of produce over there. Some potatoes, look how big this potato is. Some blackberries because Clay eats like 1,000 of these. He's like a toddler. eating us out of house and home with this berry consumption. This is literally it. This is really not much, but it's because I have a lot of groceries to use up. And dinner is served. Love Island USA is my current obsession. I have my Noosa, I have my sleeping husband, and I'm having a great night. People for House of the Dragon, as a new episode has released tonight. Matilda, it's time to get snuggled. We're watching House of the Dragon. Hello everyone. I'm about to sit down and read more Persepolis Rising. We finished House of the Dragon episode 3 tonight. And honestly, House of the Dragon is really good. It has excellent acting. But I have felt this way since season 1. I just feel like the pacing is off. Like, explosive things will happen, but I feel like everything feels so rushed. And because they're not really dedicating a lot of time for setup, at this point, I feel like everything is set up and then revealed within the same episode, which again, still makes it entertaining, but I just haven't had this like aha moment yet with House of the Dragon. Like I had so many times with the, you know, first 6 seasons of Game of Thrones, you know? The last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, I began to feel the same pacing issue. So I'm just like, I don't know, I'm waiting to just be proven wrong. But so much of it is also good, but also not a lot has happened. Anyway, I'm rambling. I want it to be, it's great, but I want it to be like, it's very good, but I wanted it to be like amazing, you know? But time will tell.
Finish the books, George.
Time will tell. Good morning. We were brewing some coffee. Millie's soaking up the sun. We set little timers for her so she's not out there for too long, but she begs to be let out all day. She begs and pleads. Hello friends, happy Monday. I'm here in the midst of making lunch, but I wanted to do a reading update because, woo, look at all this progress. I read 180 pages total so far of Persepolis Rising by James S.A. Corey. I'm on page 300, so about like 220 pages left, and this book is flying by. Consistent across the series is the plot pacing and how just addicting it is to read these books. I also have just reached a point in the series, I'm so familiar with these characters that you just get so settled into their lives, and I could watch them do anything, but I especially love watching them problem solve. And something else I appreciate too is that these dynamics between characters that we know and love very well and have also been in each other's lives for a long time, because keep in mind, there's been a time skip. There's still things that need to be explored or worked out or like confronted, which I appreciate too. Like nothing in this series is static, from the plot, obviously, to even how the characters are moving throughout the world. It's ever changing, ever evolving, and I appreciate that. But the action is great. I love conspiracy. I love a lot of what's happening. The last few books have been very war-centric, very in-your-face, large-scale strategic planning, which obviously is a very exciting thing to read. This one sort of takes us back more to our roots, where we're watching our down on our luck, sort of unlikely people have to maneuver and be creative. And I appreciate kind of being back in that space. It's fun watching people be scrappy and take on a larger force, and also reading the perspective of one of the people who is in charge of this like other side of the conflict, if you will, is also been really interesting, because their characterization is one that I wasn't necessarily anticipating, and I appreciate how out of their depth they feel, and it's like the ultimate scapegoat, but still ideologically they're so committed to the cause, but they're so not prepared for like what's happening, and yet, which is just making this book so exciting to read. So book 7, here we are. James S.A. Corey continues to be so good at what they do, but I need to get back to cooking lunch because I'm starving. So that's my reading update, 180 pages read. I'm gonna try to finish this book today, pivot to a new book tomorrow, if not tonight. I wanna get some reading in, but we'll just see. That's my hope, that's my dream. I'll keep you guys updated. Summer Cobb salad and a mess for Clay to pick up, but I love ranch dressing. That's all. Having a relaxing evening, trying to go through this I have done this goblin quest over and over and over again, because I keep accidentally aggroing the entire place. So I keep like trying new combinations, but it's so fun. I love Baldur's Gate, so I've just been here playing for a little bit after work. But Clay just finished work and I think we're actually gonna do takeout tonight. I was supposed to cook. Clay could cook too, but we're both just not feeling it. Sometimes you gotta throw in the towel and just embrace takeout, you know? Well, doesn't this just look incredible? 10 out of 10. Hello, Millie and I need to make this bed. I've just been hanging out because I've been playing Baldur's Gate basically all night. It's been a minute since I've had such a long Baldur's Gate session and I'm fully back in it. I've been playing this puzzle game recently, but that's all over for me now. I'm playing Baldur's Gate and maybe the new Luigi's Mansion re-release because I love Luigi's Mansion. But anyway, it's time to put Baldur's Gate to sleep. As you can see, I turned off my monitor. It's happening. And I am going to go read now. But I'm also really loving my book. So there's the plan. That's the plan of action. I will see y'all later, probably in the morning, because I'm gonna read and fall asleep in the next 15 minutes probably. Okay, toodles. Hello everyone. Good afternoon, if I'm being honest. I wanted to pop in and do a reading update before we carry on with the rest of the day. So first and foremost, I'm on page 400 of Persepolis Rising, meaning I've read 280 pages of this book so far for this vlog. I'm loving this book. I love watching my fave characters more in an underdog situation. It's glamorous. I'm gasping, I'm awed, the twists, the turns, also just like how James S.A. Corey dropped seeds throughout the entirety of this series, like pulling stuff from so many books ago, relevant again, and it makes sense it's relevant again, and it just makes the series so much fun. Obviously, I'm in the home stretch, and I plan to finish this book for this vlog, but I'm gonna take an intermission. We're gonna take a short story intermission because I want to read at least book 1 of this trilogy by Binti like right now. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna start it. I've heard literally nothing but incredible things about this, and I also just want to be sure to feature another book in this vlog besides Persepolis Rising, because again, this is a search for a 5-star read, and so far Persepolis Rising is giving me what I'm wanting, and I'm hoping to double down with Binti. This again is a trilogy of short stories by Binti following our main character, who's like this brilliant young girl, and she at the beginning of this book is basically chosen to attend this faraway university that's like worlds away, so she has to travel there via space. Her parents are a little reluctant to let her go, but she herself is excited and is looking to sort of venture out into this new world. But I think her ship gets boarded by aliens and then everything sort of turns upside down from there. I'm gonna sit down and literally read this right now. My neighbor just came out of the house, so I'm embarrassed, but I'm gonna go sit down and read. Hello, I've been reading. I've read 40 pages of the first short story. The first short story is 90 pages long, and Binti writing is just so good. And I will say, as someone who's read other short stories by this author and I'm now halfway through basically the first short story, she has such an unbelievable talent of fitting so much in like not a lot of space. As I already described, the story is following Binti as she is traveling to this faraway university. She makes a very difficult decision to leave home. She's the first of her people to leave. And she knows that this decision will remove her from her family in a way that is heartbreaking to her, but her desire to pursue knowledge and explore and learn in this new place is something that she just simply cannot resist. Math in this world, in this sci-fi technology, is very like science-y, but it also almost feels magical. It feels magical in a way because of the passion that surrounds it, particularly when Binti is sort of processing things through a mathematical lens, but just its application just has this sort of like magical otherworldly quality to it that's really good. The story is happening quickly, but again, just like how much Binti is able to convey so quickly is so impressive. Not only do I feel immediately connected to Binti, this is definitely a coming of age story, which in general I love, but like it's hard to even say until you read it. Just like the brevity of it is so successful. Something very intense happens early on, which is Binti's spaceship, which she's traveling with, where she's making friends and comrades, is taken over by aliens. And it's also appeared that these aliens and humanity have been in conflict for a long time. And Binti sort of finds herself unexpectedly at the center of this, and it sort of upends her life. But like the emotions and the fear and the sadness and the grieving that sort of occurs so quickly within this book lands successfully. Like, I feel like I am frustrated so often with sci-fi fantasy stories for not making me care in the span of time that they are addressing something. And this book really shows that, like, it doesn't necessarily mean like page count is what makes someone care. Like, make me spend a lot of time with something. It can also just be like how skillful the author is at conveying a character, a message, a time and place, a concept. Because like, I cared about so many different things with just like a paragraph, a page and a half, and like just the amount of culture and feeling that the author has ingrained in this short story in 40 pages is like mind-boggling to me, if I'm being honest. So anyway, I'm gonna keep reading. My goal, again, as I said, is to finish the first short story today, and then I'll probably finish my other book, but you know, maybe I'll also get to the second short story as well, because so far, excellent. Hello, look at my cute PJs. I have laundered and I have successfully read the entirety of the first short story of this Binti trilogy, and I really liked it. I'm gonna do a full like thoughts and feelings of this first short story, but I knew I was gonna love it. I definitely loved it. This search for 5-star reads has continued to be successful. I'm excited about it, and I feel like I'm on track to like definitely be finishing Persepolis Rising tonight, read a little bit of the Assassin's Quest tomorrow. I feel back. But now I'm going to make dinner and get ready to settle in for the evening. I think Clay and I are gonna watch some K-dramas. Dinner should be fast because most of it is already made, i.e. potato salad. But I bought stuff for chicken cutlets and a side salad. So I am going to just quickly fry up some chicken cutlets because it is chicken cutlet summer. Have a little salad, a little chicken, a little potato salad. Should be good. Should be tasty. Let's do it. Aren't chicken cutlets just a thing of beauty, everyone? The chicken cutlets are complete. I'm also giving myself a side of ranch because this is basically adult chicken fingers. So cheers to that. In other news, Clay and I are back watching this K-drama called Lovely Runner. It's so freaking cute. We started it a few months ago and then just kind of stopped watching it after Hospital Playlist. But we're back and it's so good. I'm also happy I waited. Started it right when it was airing and now it's complete so we can marathon it. It's just adorable. It's adorable. But now that we have watched some, I am gonna go read and I'll do more of a reading wrap up tomorrow because I have read like almost 400 pages, so not bad. Hello, good morning. Let's do a reading update because I have so much to talk about, if I'm being honest. First and foremost, I read the entirety of the first short story that makes up this trilogy by Nandia Korafor, and I really liked it. I already kind of spoke to this, but just like the amount that this author is able to build in not a lot of space is exceptional. I also love how focused it is on our main character, her journey as not only an exceptional person, which is true and established quickly, but there's so much introspection on Binti's feeling of belonging. She loves her home, she loves her family, but she desired to leave for a reason because she felt different. And now she's in this entirely new place surrounded by so many different individuals, from other humans to other aliens, and she still feels different. So this desire to sort of carve out a place of belonging for herself, and also discovering elements of her culture and her own personal being that makes her feel like home, and also watching her sort of reframe and accept parts of herself with new context, and also just seeing like how exceptional she is as a human while also still capturing her spirit as a girl, because she's really not that old at all. I love the university setting. There are so many impactful plot lines in this, and there's no delay. Like, things happen, we move, and then the context of those things are immediately folded into the story. And it just feels like very, very seamless. It is a space university set book, but it's a coming of age story following Binti. And it's also a story of Binti doing things that are extraordinary, but kind of like not with the intention to be extraordinary either. Really loved this first installment. I'm looking forward to seeing where the story is going to take us next. There's also like side characters that have been introduced, like friends of Binti that I just like love. I'm really captured by this story. So I read the first one of that trilogy, and then I also completed Persepolis Rising by James S.A. Corey, which is book 7 of The Expanse. I feel like I'm on a roll with this series. I'm definitely going to be picking up book 8 very soon, not only because I was hooked by the plot of this, but just the plot movements of this were emotional and intense. I felt so connected and committed, and just so much of like the dialogue around certain philosophical and government philosophies was just like really interesting to see, both at like a high level conceptually, but then in practice when those things can feel like very contradictory. And that's what I just appreciate about this series in general, because throughout the course of the series, I would say there's lots of high level politicking, people in charge or feel like they should be in charge, coming up with large sweeping concepts, making decisions that impact huge swaths of people. And we're both aware of those decisions and we can contemplate and chew on those decisions, but we still also see the impact of these decisions on everyday people. And it creates this really interesting dissonance throughout the course of the story, because it just like, there is no high level decision without consequences, and you're gonna also have to reap those consequences. And I just feel like the balance of those things works so well. And the messaging of this book is consistent while throwing us new scenarios, new characters, or characters that we're familiar with, and having to watch our people problem solve in new and fascinating ways. I mean, we've got espionage, we've got underground work, we've got twists and turns galore within this installment, and it was really good. And it's obviously setting up like the final end sequence of this series, and I feel like a lot of the books within this series are kind of contained. Things carry over, but they're contained. I feel like the last 3 books are all gonna be like connected, and this was like part 1 of 3 for this like end game situation, and I am so intrigued. So yeah, I did read all of this as well. This was 550 pages. I was on 120, so that's 430 pages. I've also read 100 pages here, so that's 530 pages. My search for 5-star reads has definitely been very successful for this reading blog, and I'm going to read some Assassin's Quest as well, which we already know is an established 5-star read when and if I ever finish that book, but we're gonna read more today. But anyway, there's my reading update. I'm gonna go get ready, make lunch, check in, yada yada yada. Sometimes life calls for breakfast, for lunch. One of my favorite things to do. Delicious. Hi guys, it's Reagan and welcome to the end of the vlog. The next day, I'm happy to report my search for a 5-star read was honestly very successful. I read so many things I've really enjoyed over the course of this vlog. I will also say I had a little bit of a twist in my TBR right there at the end, but let's just go through everything I successfully read. So obviously, first and foremost, I read pretty much the entirety of Persepolis Rising by James S.A. Corey, which is book 7 to the Expanse series. New chapter of the story. We had a time skip, new situations, characters that we know and love, but like a lot pivoted in this like final arc of this series. And I have to say, I am obsessed. I love this new angle. I love some of the new themes that are being explored. It feels actually one of the more refreshing pivots for a 3rd act in a really long series that I've read in a while, and I feel like it's working immensely. I flew through this book, the twists and turns, the commentary, just again, a lot of good stuff here. I loved it. I loved it so much, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it because I was just a little concerned. Because it's not every day, you know, you have a 30-40 year time skip in the middle of a series right before the end, you know? And then I also read the first book within the Binti trilogy, which I also loved, an exceptional short story centering our main character, action, adventure, coming of age, really interesting contemplations on a variety of topics through our main character Binti. It was a delightful time. So yes, again, both of those books I would say are 5 stars and also got me over the 500 page mark. Going into the end of this vlog, I was supposed to then jump to the Assassin's Quest, but honestly, I was so into the Expanse that I started book 8 of the Expanse series, which is Tiamats' Wrath, and I read like 150 pages in one day. I this end sequence is all connected. All the other books were very much connected, but it's rare in this series where a sequence like continues to move forward book over book over book. And I just had so many burning questions at the end of book 7 that I just needed to see how the plot was going to develop in book 8. And I am obsessed with this. It's like a slow burn in terms of plot, like still has me on the edge of my seat, but more methodical than I feel like I've experienced in James S.A. Corey. Like, plot elements have a longer term payoff, which definitely has drawn me in. As a slow burn, slow pacing kind of girl, I am like hooked. And I also feel like I like these characters more than I ever have before. I feel like they have new complexities, new depths to their character journeys, more nuanced emotional responses, and just a history that has been explored now over 8 books. So yeah, I feel like this final sequence, the final 3 books of the series, completely taken me by surprise from a plot expectation, but I have been so drawn in. I'm so hooked. So I ended up picking up Tiamats, I don't know how to say this, Tiamats Wrath. It's crazy. It's so good. And like, it's not to say that this final plot sequence is like out of left field and not connected to everything it was before, because it is, but it also isn't. And if you've read it, I feel like you're going to understand where I'm coming from, but I am on the edge of my seat with this and I can't stop reading. But yeah, those are all the books I read over the course of this vlog. A very successful search for a 5-star read, a 5-star series. 2 5-star series, if I'm being honest. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with another one soon. Goodbye.